Ladies and gentlemen of Knucklehead Nation, welcome to another episode of the FightersRep podcast, airing every Monday at noon from here on out. And listen, Knucklehead Nation, I am absolutely elated. I'm going to use the word elated for this one to have this guest on. It is none other than Prophet Lovy Elias. Prophet, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing amazing. I'm doing amazing, and I'm glad to be here.
I'm very glad to have you. You are the epitome of kind of what I'm looking for on this show, right? You know, people that are obviously well known, especially in their own sort of
Hmm.
genres, but people who are also crossing over into the
Hmm.
fight world, right? And
Yeah.
I thought it was extremely interesting, right? I feel like
Mhm.
you do a few things that are a little bit unorthodox.
Yes.
And I feel like it's incredibly interesting, Prophet, that you're not just, I would call it a pastor and a
Hmm.
prophet and the founder of a church and a singer and a songwriter, as we could see from
Hmm.
you, sitting in your mastering studio there, where I'm sure you've
Yeah.
created many songs and things of the sort. But you're
Hmm.
also a fighter, somebody interested
Hmm.
in competing in the fight sports. And I
Hmm.
just find that fascinating because it's not every day that you see a religious figure or a religious person
Hmm.
that is involved in fighting or fight sports to the point where they actually want to compete.
Well, first of all, I think it's misunderstanding of scripture. I'll speak from my own perspective as a Christian, right? Well, you look throughout the Bible, you see that Abraham was a warrior, even though he was just a man of God.
Right,
When his family got captured, he went and conquered four kings by himself in his house. Without an army, he defeated four kings, right? And you look at David, he was a warrior. You look at Elijah, he was a warrior. Fighting is part of the reality of life, and I think that anyone that is ignorant of it is just not reading the Bible intelligently. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
And you see, the issue is religious people usually think that fighting has to do with anger, yet it's sport. I work so hard, I want to test myself and see how skilled I am. At the end of the fight, we hug each other, say congrats man, you're good, and that's the end of it.
Right, right.
So it has nothing to do with being sinful or being aggressive or anything like that. It's just sport, like playing soccer, like playing anything. That's how I look at it. And yeah, and that's pretty much it for me.
And I love to hear that because that's kind of the way, I look at it as well. And
Yeah.
I also, I have to reconcile. I mean, everybody has to kind of reconcile their
Hmm.
beliefs with
Hmm.
what they're doing. And
Yeah.
obviously, I'm probably not going to be as knowledgeable on the scriptures as you are. I mean, being, a pastor, a founder of a church, somebody who,
Mm-hmm.
seems to, I mean, and we got to get into this, Prophet, somebody who seems to have some sort of supernatural connection. I mean, spiritual connection. I mean, I watch some of your videos and I'm
Yeah.
just absolutely blown away. So let's kind of get it from the beginning if you don't mind.
Sure.
Kind of tell me how you got into this, how you discovered your talents,
Mm.
and then take me into the fighting, what got you interested into the fighting.
Well, well, so I come from a family of musicians. Everyone in my family is a musician. There's no one in my family that is actually a minister. Then, when I was 6 years old, I had a very powerful encounter whereby I saw Jesus Christ, in the flesh. I had been very, very sick for some time, and then he appeared to me without boring you guys too much, but he told me what I was going to do. And at this time, I wasn't living in America, I was in Africa, I was in Kenya.
Yeah.
And I was just 6, it was 1992. And he told me that you're going to go to this place called Los Angeles, you're going to live there, and you're going to plant a church in a place called the Valley. So I didn't know any of these things. I didn't know
Wow, man.
anything. And then he
Wow.
told me that whenever you pray for people, I'm going to tell you what's going on with them, hidden secrets about their hearts so that you can help them. And whenever you pray for them, I will prove that I sent you not only by what you will know, but the things that will happen. So I forgot about all that, and I moved on with life. I'm skipping a lot of parts, but I came to America to produce music. I'm a Grammy nominated producer. I've worked with some of the biggest artists in the country. Some of them even come to church, actors, and all that. But while I was doing the music, the time came. He appeared to me again and told me, "Remember what I told you when you were a kid?" I said, "Yeah." Told me it's time to start doing it. So I started having a small Bible study group in my house, and it grew to what it is right now. When people ask me, how did you start a church? I said, I didn't start any church. He just told me to do what he wants me to do, and I did it, and that's what happened.
Wow. Wow.
So I never tried to do it. I wasn't trying to be a minister. I wanted to make music, but my satisfaction in coming to help people was the biggest thing. So coming into fighting, you've watched some of my videos, is that how I got into fighting is one night I was praying, and while I was praying, I had a very powerful vision again. And in this vision, I saw myself helping Jon Jones, Johnny Bones,
Wow.
John.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
So, and God told me some things about him, that at a certain time he was going to meet me, and I'm going to be of really, really big help to him. So when he told me that, I took it upon myself to start knowing what fighting really was. So I started I found a Muay Thai gym. And when I found a Muay Thai gym, I started, because anything you're going to get into, I think the only way you're successful is you have to know what you're getting yourself into. I feel like people get into things for the wrong reasons, and that's why we fail, you know.
Yeah.
If I'm going to be a fight promoter, I have to get into it for the right reason. If I'm going to be a doctor, I got to get into it for the right reason,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
many times the ups and downs will make you quit, or make you do the or make the wrong decision, simply because you're doing it for the wrong reasons, you know what I mean? So
Oh my goodness.
for
Do I
me,
do I know what you mean, Prophet?
so for me, I really wanted to make sure that because he didn't just show me him, he showed me a lot of athletes, and he told me that I'll be an entertainer, but he showed me John first. So he told me some things that were going on with him, and I started training, and he told me the year that I was going to meet him. So for before that, I started really training hard, because I was going to be a very important part in his in a certain time in his life. And it happened exactly like he told me. So I started training Muay Thai. I found Saxon's Muay Thai, and I've been training there under Master Julio. You know, Julio Trana is, to me, the best striking coach there is. So I started training there in order to understand who I was going to be helpful to. And after a few years, I met John, and and one day, when I'm with him or something, we could get like he could tell the story himself. But I don't think there's any fight that Jon Jones has been to that I wasn't.
Wow.
And if I wasn't, it was probably because I travel. Usually, during camp, he will invite me over, and I will go and be part of the whole thing. Greg Jackson and Greg loves me. Six Gun loves me. I know the whole crew. I got to meet guys like Yoel Romero and all these guys. So I was kind of immersed into it. But for me, in order to understand it, I started also training really hard. And I fell in love with fighting, because I found that, like fasting, I do a lot of fasting.
Yeah.
So for me,
Yeah.
cutting weight has never been a problem, because throughout my life, because of praying, I had to fast a lot. So fighting is just a little bit different, because you have to cut weight by being still active.
Yeah.
So, I've cut weight with John, a few times. But just the whole fight experience, because in the ring there is no what is that, what do I call it, you can't be fake, it's real, you know what I mean?
Oh
You
yeah.
can't hide
Oh yeah.
behind a teammate, you can't hide behind anything. If you didn't put in work, it will show. If you're having a bad day, it will show. If you're not focused, it will show. So it forces you to be on every single time. And I've been privileged to compete a few times too, and you understand what it takes it's different. And for me, I believe live life to the best of your ability. Obviously, do it responsibly, but live life to the best of your ability, because through that, we only have one shot at this thing here on earth. So, you know, it's amazing.
Live it
It's
up.
amazing to train. Yeah. So that's how I kind of got into fighting.
I love what you say about, basically live up to your full potential. I want to say that
Hmm.
I did pop in to your live today
Oh, okay.
on YouTube, and I heard
Oh,
you.
service.
I did, and I heard that one of the things in your ministry or liturgy was kind of pray to be uh, to complete God's vision for you.
100%.
Yeah,
That's what life is about.
right,
We're
right.
here to help people. Yeah.
And I feel like people understand that, in sports and at the highest level. Like when you were saying
Mm.
that, what was running through my mind, and I'm just crazy like that. I've been watching
Yeah.
too many fights, but what was running through my mind when you were saying that was, I remember distinctly an interview with Roy Jones where he
Mm-hmm.
said they were asking, why do you keep fighting? Why do you keep fighting? And he said, when I die, I want to go to God and I want to say, you gave me all this ability, you gave me all this talent. I lived up to all my potential. Here you go. I
A
did
hundred
everything
percent.
I could.
A
I
hundred
did
percent.
everything I could. I didn't leave a stone unturned. I did
Mm.
exactly, you blessed me with this ability and I took full advantage of it, and I lived up to my
A
potential.
100%. I believe like the Bible says your gift will make room for you. So whatever God has given you is supposed to establish you in the world. It's supposed to open that door, but your work ethic is going to keep you in there. So, you know, give to be gifted is good, but to maximize it is where the work comes in. And for me, I love talking about John more because John is really a close friend.
No.
I've been to his home where he grew up. I know his father, I know his brothers, I know every one of them. They call me all the time. I knew his late mother. I everything that is a brother to me. It's like family. But one thing that I've always appreciated about him, and especially seeing him work, I just you understand why the guy is the best in the whole world. You really get it. I have never seen somebody so dedicated, number one, and not only the dedication, but the coaching stuff that he has put together is crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
John has a boxing coach, he has a jiu-jitsu coach, he has a wrestling coach, he has a Muay Thai coach, he has a all-round coach. He just has every single thing that he needs to fix.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He has everyone for that. So when he steps in there to fight, people are like, man, he has no weakness. Yeah, because he made sure he has no weakness. It didn't just happen. He was always a gifted guy, but seeing him work, sitting down, listening to how he thinks. Sometimes when before he goes in the octagon, and I'm in the locker room with him, and the whole team, and just seeing him get his mind right, and me and him pray together. Yeah. So when we pray together, and I'll just see the focus and the determination this man has, the fear sometimes he will have, and when he steps in there, all that is gone. It's really motivating. Sometimes I'll be like telling John, encourage him. Sometimes I use, my gift a little bit with him, even though it's not supposed to be all the way there, but like in sports, but it's interesting to see how he would absorb everything that I'm saying. It's like he's not talking, he just takes in everything. You realize, like, man, to be at the top of anything, that focus is so important. So I started training really hard to fight because I'm a very focused individual. I've always been, but that was just different. I had never seen it in that way. So,
Yeah.
everyone should maximize what they have been given, and many times to be the best at what you're doing is not just hard work, but having the right people that will show you what to work hard
Mm-hmm.
so you can be better in every way, because confidence should always be there, but you need somebody that will show the weaknesses that you have in private so that you can fix them, so that when you're in public they're not there.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
fighting is real life. That's what I call it. It's just real life.
Abs.
You can't blame anyone, you can't lie on anyone, you can't make an excuse. You lose, you lose. You win, you win. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's just what it is.
Absolutely, I call it the Lions Den. I mean, it's a pun.
Mm,
It's a pun, that plays along with our logo, obviously with Fighters Rep.
mm,
But it's the
mm.
Lions Den. You get found out in there, and
Yeah.
somebody who has got an interesting name for it as well as my friend Chris Cully. He's one of our commentators. I'm not sure if you've met Chris Cully before. Maybe you have.
No, I probably have seen him, but I didn't. Yeah.
He's a guy. Of Guyanese descent. He's a guy training out there in Los Angeles Muay Thai. One of the head trainers there. Great fighter, former
Mm,
fighter. Competed in MMA, Muay Thai, and
mm.
kickboxing. Multiple sport champion. But he calls it the truth room. He calls it the truth
Okay,
room.
okay. Oh, I think I know a black guy,
Right?
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like bald head. Yeah, he's amazing. He's really good. He's really, really good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so he refers
Yeah,
he
he's really
refers to
good.
the lines. He just calls it the truth room, man. I'm just gonna tell you the truth when you get in there.
Mm, that's very true. That's very, very
I
true.
wanted to ask you, Prophet, you said, I mean, you don't want to bore us. It certainly doesn't bore me.
Mm,
I'm hyper inquisitive and curious about this, right? And as somebody
yeah.
who is, I think I've told you this through messaging, borderline
Yeah.
scared, right? I'm borderline scared of the spirit world, right? You said at age 6, this happened to you. You were
Yes.
very sick. You were in Kenya.
Yes.
What was going
Yes.
on? I want to ask what was going on with you, and then if you can share, how is it that you were approached by Jesus? How is it that
Yes.
he approaches you? How does he communicate to you? Because that's fascinating to me.
Yeah. Oh no, it's actually quite simple. It's just like what you see in the Bible, right? And I wasn't, and again, I came from musicians. I didn't come from people who prayed a whole
Right,
lot,
right.
you know. So I was sick with malaria. I don't know if anyone knows what
Of
malaria is.
course,
If
of
you've been
course.
to Africa, yeah, malaria is crazy. Man, it's like COVID on steroids, pretty
Oh
much.
man,
It's bad. Man, every bone in your body will hurt. It kills more kids in Africa than anything.
it's horrible.
At least the last time I checked, malaria is really bad. But yeah, I had malaria and I wasn't getting better. And I was laying in my bed and I just saw like a light beam, like it's the purest white you have ever seen. And a man stepped out of that light that seemed to be the source of that light. And he was so gentle, so calm, but it's all, it wasn't with sound, it was telepathic. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
The communication was, it was like
Right.
telepathic. I could hear him talk, but there was no sound, but I could hear every single thing that he said. So when I'm praying for people, what I usually see is I see visions a lot. It's like a screen opens up before you, and you just see. And then sometimes you hear his voice telling you what is going on, and sometimes you don't. Just by seeing the vision, you know exactly what's happening, and then you're able to help people.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's not just, because this is called the prophetic, but it's not like a psychic. You know what I mean? This is like way, 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 way up there. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Because it's God speaking. It's not, I'm picking up a spirit. It's way more than that.
yeah, yeah.
Sometimes when I watch back these things and I'm blown away, I'm like, what in the world? This is crazy because it's not me saying those things.
Yeah.
I'm being told, and whatever I'm told, it always impacts people and it brings them closer to God and it makes them fulfill what God gave them to
So
do.
you kind of,
That's really what.
so you kind of hear it in your mind's eye and you see it. Is that what happens?
No, it's not. It's you see, the mind's eye is the soul.
Mm,
The soul is the mind's eye, but you also have a spirit. So when God is speaking to you, He doesn't speak to your soul because your soul has your own thoughts, has your own things, and all that. So God, being spirit, He communicates to your spirit. So your ability to develop your soul in order to be a good servant to your spirit is what makes the difference. Then you can hear Him clearly. So it's not just in the mind. I actually, like, how you can hear me.
yeah,
I hear it like
I
that.
see.
You
I
know.
see.
Yeah. There are times it's in the eyes, mind too, but many times it's like the same way you can hear me is the same way I hear Him.
Did it ever? I mean, were you ever fearful at all, or was it
Oh,
just?
100%. The first time was scary, and sometimes when I see him, it's still scary
Yeah,
because it's something you can't explain. If you read in scripture, everyone that saw him was afraid. Whoever angels appeared to, God appeared to. It's always like it's a freaky experience.
yeah.
You can't. How do you explain that? Even now, I feel crazy saying it, but it's like real. You know what I mean? It's just it's real.
Yeah, and for those that are just joining right now, watching us on the replay, obviously like, comment, subscribe to the channel, join the channel, but check out what the Prophet is
Mm.
talking about. Follow him at Prophet Lovey on Instagram. Check out his YouTube channel. I mean, I'm a I'm a believer just watching some of these videos, especially when you're prophesizing to people. It blew me away to the point where
Yeah.
I just wanted to talk to you, to see what's going on in your mind, and the fact that you're also a fight fan, training at Saxon Muay Thai, which is a gym that I've been able, I've
The best in the
which
world.
I've had,
Best in the
which
world.
I've had the
I'm being biased right now, but it's true. Listen, Julio's like a dad to me. I love that man.
yeah, and he does
Yeah,
a great job. I mean, shout out to Saxon Muay Thai. I was gonna say, definitely one of the best that I've ever worked with. It's one of the best in the world. And I love working with them. The fact that you're kind of involved with them as well, and I know Julio and his family. They're pretty. I want to say they're probably pretty religious as well. I mean, they seem like a pretty religious
yeah,
group of people as well. So it seems like a good
yeah,
fit.
yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. It is. He's just, man. I love what I love about Coach is, you know, I call him Master Julio. Is just he's upfront. He doesn't do the playing in the dark. He does. If you can do it, he will tell you. If you can't, you can't. If he's able, like he's just so direct that if you're not used to that, you can kind of get offended a little
Yeah,
bit. But you know,
I know it.
he's just as real as he comes. And man, man, that man has pushed me and other brothers and sisters in the gym to a whole different level. Man, I appreciate Julio more than you can imagine. Some of my hardest times, the gym made it better. So shout out to Saxon Academy, the best gym on the planet. You know,
Big shout out.
uh,
Big
it,
shout out.
it's an amazing
And you
place.
guys do have a teammate actually competing on December 3rd at the next Fighters Rep.
Yeah,
Arturo
yes,
Vaca
yes.
is going to be competing.
Listen. Arturo is amazing. I love that kid. Is amazing. I'm excited. I told you I'm gonna be there front row.
I love it. I
I'm
love
gonna
it.
be
I
there.
love it.
I love kickboxing. And I was surprised because I've only trained Muay Thai, but kickboxing is punches and kicks without elbows, but and no clinching really. But I'm a huge kickboxing fan too. I love Rico Van something.
Verhoeven.
I've been watching
Verhoeven.
Rico for
Yeah,
yeah, Van Hoven, man. Them Dutch people can kickbox for real.
for sure.
That's how I found Alistair Overeem back in the day when he was still like doing kickboxing and stuff. How did you think about that Alistair Overeem and Badahari? That was a fight.
It
Did
was.
you get to see
It
that?
was. Prophet. You're from Kenya. You're my brother. We got a link. I mean, I'm an Arab guy. I love better. I love.
There we go.
I love.
My mother. I'm sorry to
No,
cut you,
no.
but I grew up around a lot of Arabs, but my mother's actually she's Persian. She's from Iran, close enough.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, so I'm part Iranian, so I'm close enough.
For sure, for sure. Well, I actually really I've always thought East Africans, I mean, especially like Ethiopians and Kenyans and stuff and
Hmm.
like that, I'll be honest, like, you grow up like I did, hanging around with a lot of Arab people and your family, and the way they look and you're different growing up, you look a little
Yes.
different. But and then I would interact with some of these East African communities. I'd be like, man, they got like the same eyes, like the same, like
Yeah.
there's something in the face that I can't always quite put a finger on it. You know what I mean? But it's like, man, these people are like the same, maybe like ancestors, something. And then I did one of these.
Oh, let me tell you something interesting. So my father's from the Congo, Central Africa,
I see.
and my mother is Iranian, but she grew up in the Congo, in the eastern part of
Mm,
Congo. So, but I grew up in East Africa because my father was on tour.
I
He
see.
traveled
I
the world
see.
and he decided to settle in Kenya. That's how I was born in Kenya. But I'm not Kenyan, but I was born there. Now, this is something interesting that a little bit of like, black history, a little
Yeah.
bit. So if you look at all the coasts of Africa, right, it's very Muslim influenced because when before the British and the Spaniards and came into Africa, the Arabs were already there.
Yeah.
And the Arabs were already trading and doing their thing like they always did. Some dealt in slaves, some goods, that kind of thing. So if you go like an example to East Africa, right? East Africa has a language called Kiswahili or Swahili.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So Kiswahili is actually a mix of Bantu and Arabic.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So if somebody's speaking Arabic, I can understand because I speak fluent Swahili, you
That's
know,
really cool.
because because it's actually, so if you look at the Swahili people, there's literally a group of people called the Swahili people. They are descendants of Arabs. Like if you look at somebody like Gaddafi, right? Gaddafi was in Northern
Yeah.
Africa. Gaddafi was the president of
Sure.
Libya. You
Sure.
look at Gaddafi, Gaddafi is a straight up Arab guy, you
Yeah.
know, but Gaddafi was an African too. You know what I mean? So there's a long history with like Arabs in and the African natives for a very, very, very long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So you're not far off seeing features and you're like, huh, close.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the foods and especially in the coasts, it's interesting. Like I'll give you an example. You can count in Arabic,
Oh
right?
yeah. Of course.
Okay, so we say, I know in Swahili they say 30 is thalathini, but I know in Arabic it's close.
Salatin.
You know, it's yeah. You
Yeah.
see, it's the
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
You know,
No, for sure, and I
yeah,
I got into it for a little bit, but then I moved on. But I got into it because
yeah,
I did one of those genetic tests, that they do where they swipe the inside of your mouth or whatever it was, and it said I was this
yeah.
haplogroup. To keep a long story short, and that haplogroup, which was J, they assigned me the letter J,
Mm.
was apparently like they referred to it as the line of Abraham, is what they referred to it,
Wow,
and it
wow.
showed you on the map where it was most prevalent, and it was all East Africa. I mean, it was a really dense concentration in Ethiopia,
Mm,
in
mm,
Yemen, and then
mm,
all the
mm,
way up to the Caucasus areas, like where Habib and these guys are from. You know
mm.
what I mean? So
Yes, yes,
so
yes,
it
yes.
kind of it and what it meant was all these people had the same paternal
Answer.
grandfather.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's and then you hear it in the language too. I mean, Amhara,
yeah.
all these languages are Semitic languages like Arabic,
Yes,
Hebrew and Aramaic and everything else. So,
yeah. Their roots go
oh
so
my
far.
God, very far. So yeah, Better Hari broke. Long story short, Better Hari broke my heart, Prophet.
Listen, I low key cried, but and especially he retired too. I'm like, dang. But it was also time. He's been a great
Yeah,
champion
yeah,
and a great fighter for a long time. He's been fighting for a long time,
yeah,
and man, one of the best for sure. One of the
yeah.
best. And he didn't really look like himself in the fight too, honestly, personally. The shape that he comes in, and all that, but it was just time.
Right, right, right. And I'd be
Yeah.
lying if I didn't say like he wasn't an inspiration for me to get into kickboxing as well. I mean, I love kickboxing because of him. When you see like
Mm-hmm.
people from that region growing up as a kid, oh man, they're doing well. Maybe this is something
Mm-hmm.
that's just cool in that
Yeah.
part of the world. I want to spread that over here too. You know what I mean?
Listen, Morocco, Egypt, I mean, Arabs love kickboxing. It's like action. And we're pretty good at it too,
Yeah, yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah.
And we've got
Interesting.
like a big like we've got obviously a lot of diversity here in Los Angeles. We've got a big Armenian community here that loves to
Yes.
compete as well. We've got you're from Africa. We've got kids from Azerbaijan and Russia and all over the place. So I think
Wow, that's
yeah.
crazy. That's crazy. That's pretty cool.
So I just love the different kind of I guess, diversity
Hmm.
of the athletes we've had at Fighters Rep. And maybe at some point
Yeah.
we get you in there. You sound like you're interested in getting in there.
Oh, listen, I just did my last fight. Actually, it was pretty fun, and I had like a little injury that at the end of the round it kind of like showed up, and coach kind of pulled it out. But it was really, really, really super fun. I'm excited for that. Let me tell you, the first time I saw Fighters Rep. So I was me and I follow Anderson Silva's kid. We follow each other on IG.
Okay, okay.
Khalil,
Khalil, okay.
Khalil. Yeah,
Great
yeah,
kid, by
and
the
he's
way.
fought for
He's a
yeah,
great kid.
yeah. He's fought for you. I think twice, from what I know, maybe twice or three
Four
times. I'm not
times now.
sure.
4 times now.
Four times. Wow, wow. So the fight before last, when he was training for it, was the first time I saw it, and I was like, kickboxing. Wait, what? Then I watched and I was like, man, these shows are incredible. Man, listen, the action is wild. I love it. And I'll tell you this, I love kickboxing because it's like consistent action. So that was the first time I saw it, and then I started watching, and then I started following, and then I started, I actually am subscribed on YouTube. I watched
Thank you,
the
thank you,
fights
thank you.
live. Isn't that
Thank you
crazy?
so much for that. That
then
means a
then I
lot.
find you on IG. I follow you. Then we start talking too. So it's good stuff. I love it, and it's unique to this region because I've only seen Muay Thai shows. I haven't seen kickboxing shows.
Right, it was, and I love that you bring that up, and that really indicates to me how much of a fight fan you are, Prophet, because,
Yeah,
I saw this. First off, I love kickboxing, as we've already explained. The source of it,
yeah,
among other things. I loved sports. You know, Arab
mm,
kid growing up. I played everything. I enjoyed combat sports. I saw this. I started doing MMA. And,
mm,
for me, the most exciting part of MMA has always been when the guys are standing and fighting.
yeah,
As soon
yeah,
as the guys get to the ground, as much as I respect the heck out of wrestling and
mm,
jujitsu, soon as the guys get to the ground, I feel like it kind of gets a little bit boring. There's also like a bit of an elegance, I guess, and a class to people
yeah,
standing and fight. I love boxing too, so
mm,
people just
yeah,
standing and fighting, the sweet science, and it's a bit
mm,
easier to understand. And I almost felt like
mm,
when I decided to transition to kickboxing, you know, I saw nothing there, and part of it made me feel like, okay, I'm gonna be like the only show in town. But another
mm,
part of me was like, man, like a lot of people are gonna be naysayers, right? Because they're gonna say nobody cares about this sport.
mm,
So, I knew I
mm,
had to like put my heart into this, because it's not as popular as MMA. It's not as popular
mm,
as
no,
Muay Thai,
no.
but I'm trying to show the world that it is more, I think it's the most exciting combat sport. That's my opinion.
To be honest with you, I think I love Muay Thai. I love I love MMA, obviously. And actually my first martial arts was jiu-jitsu, and then I got into striking, and I discovered I was like really, really good at it, with my long limbs and stuff. I just realized I was really, really good at it. And then being around John and those kinds of people, it just makes you even better. You see and you take things from this person. And the thing I love about kickboxing is that I feel like, you know I love Muay Thai a whole lot, and I've trained that, like, but one thing I love about Coach Julio is that, he always says that I'm not trying to change your style. I'm just trying to add on what you have and correct, some openings that you may have that may be dangerous. But I want you to fight the way you fight. So he will fix like the hands up and things like that. What I've always loved about kickboxing was also for me, because I come from my father used to watch Mike Tyson. Like, I don't think I think I've watched every Mike Tyson fight there is, because my dad was such a hardcore Mike
Yeah,
Tyson
yeah, yeah.
fan. So whenever there were fights, and we were in Africa, so those fights would be in New York or Vegas, right? So here it will be like 8 o'clock here or 9 o'clock, and there it will be like 4, 5 a.m. And I was really close to my dad being a little kid. I'll sit with him and we'll watch it. I remember the last my father died in 1996, but I remember the
May he
last
rest in
Mike Tyson
peace.
fight I watched. Yeah, when I watched my last Mike Tyson fight with him was the Mark Neely fight. Mike Tyson and Mark Neely. I don't know if you
Wow,
remember that.
wow. Oh my
So yeah,
gosh.
so I went there. So I loved boxing so much, and the footwork, the movement. I love Muay Thai, but sometimes it can just be here.
Yeah, yeah,
Kickboxing has a little more flair. People can have a little more movement. It has more personality to the person. You know what I
yeah.
mean? That it, it's cool to watch. Not
Absolutely,
not saying
absolutely.
that Muay Thai is not, but it's just there's something about kickboxing. Like you watch glory fights, it's fun to
Oh
watch.
man,
And it's just I love kickboxing because also people are very good with hands. People throw really cool combos, and it's kickboxing it reminds me of boxing and adding cakes, pretty
yeah, it's
much.
exactly what it was. I wanted to ask you. You brought up Glory.
Yeah.
You're from Africa as
Mhm.
well. What about Cedric Doumbé, man? That guy.
Listen, Cedric is. Listen, I'll tell you this, man. I'm sorry, you just got
Oh
me
my
excited.
gosh, I just want to
Listen,
watch that guy, man.
listen. Cedric is, he knows how to get under people's skin, but my guy is such a great fighter. Isn't that interesting that he says that he just trains himself? Isn't
That's
that crazy? It's
incredible.
it's
That's incredible.
it's it's insane. But Cedric is really. I've watched a lot of Cedric Doumbé's fights, and he's a Cameroonian kid, I believe. I
Mm,
think he's from Cameroon, but he lives in France. But he's really, I call him the combat
yeah,
master. He understands angles very well. His over right hand is like money. You know what I mean?
man.
His movement, his placement, and I love especially when he started adding more aggression to his game. Man, he was finishing
Yeah,
everything. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Compared to when he started, Cedric is a unicorn. He's really one of
He
the best
he
for sure.
really is. I liken him, and again, this is because I'm such a boxing head, Prophet. I liken him to like kickboxing's Floyd Mayweather. Right now, for me, he's
Yes,
like the kickboxing Floyd Mayweather, but the difference is being what you're saying is he's more like aggressive and he'll finish you. He'll
yes.
finish you,
Yeah,
whereas
he will finish you. You make one mistake, man, he will catch you, and his timing is crazy. I heard he's going to MMA though. He's been training MMA pretty hard the last time I saw. I haven't seen him in the kickboxing ring
you
though.
see, that's what breaks my heart, right, Prophet?
Yeah.
Because I want, you brought up glory. I want to be something of a glory in the United States, but I would like to make Fighters Rep even bigger, so we can
Hmm.
create enough revenue, generate enough revenue to pay guys enough so that they don't have to go fight MMA. They
Hmm.
don't have to go do
Hmm.
boxing. I mean, it's crazy to me. Like I know guys that are in MMA right now. A couple of them are going off into boxing and stuff just for a paycheck.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's sad. It's sad. I believe these guys are so talented. Like a guy like Doumbé is so talented, man. He should be getting paid crazy money to kickbox. He
Hmm.
shouldn't have to go into MMA. Yeah, now if it's a decision where he just wants to challenge himself and try it out,
Yeah, that's
yeah, I'm
different.
okay with it. But a lot of the times I feel like it's a money thing. I mean, it's just not worth it to kickbox for a lot of these guys.
If I may say something too, I think that coming from the entertainment business, especially Fighters Rep is it's building really fast, and I love seeing the fights that are on there and all the exciting guys. I think that
Thank you for that. Thank you.
here's the issue with being an artist, right? There's an issue with being an artist. It's not bad, it's a great thing, but an artist does things for the art. And I feel like the reason why MMA is so big right now, when MMA started, it wasn't the biggest
Hmm.
thing. In fact, it was deemed to be barbaric,
Right.
and even though boxing had people's heads being knocked off, they didn't deem it as much, but MMA was a little barbaric because it didn't have a lot of the
Yeah.
rules, right? But here's the thing that I think MMA has caught steam now, and I feel like, especially for fighters let's talk about Fighters Rep, which has exciting people, characters left, right, and center, which is cool. I like the guy with the cowboy hat. There's a
For
dude with the
sure,
cowboy
Jason
hat.
Granado.
Really cool.
Yeah,
He's really
Jason
solid.
Granado.
Yes, yeah. I mean, there's just cool people that have personality. But here's the thing that I think that a lot of fighters need to understand, especially if you want to do it at the highest level where you take care of your family. I feel like people are expecting to be paid much to fight, and I think that it should be so, but that's not really just necessarily the reality, you know, because everyone that is coming there is training to fight. You're not paid to get in the ring, you're paid to bring people to sit on the chairs, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So I feel like there's an element of entertainment that people have to come to learn. You see, like when I was doing the music business actively, in those days, they will sign artists and they will go into something called artist development, whereby artists will be taught how to like do interviews, how to be in front of people, how to do this, how to use their social media, things like that was really necessary because you are a walking billboard essentially,
Yeah. Yeah.
Conor did so well for himself because Conor McGregor is entertaining,
Right. Right.
he's not just good. Conor is good, but Conor is entertaining. You just wanted to see what this
He's
guy is going to
crazy.
say.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
He's crazy. He's so entertaining. He's a
I
good
love it.
fighter,
Yeah. Yeah.
but he's a greater entertainer than he is a
Yeah.
fighter. Mike Tyson had that gift of like being a timid guy, but when he got in there, people loved that he was entertaining in the ring. And when he spoke, he wasn't the best spoken guy because he was a shy guy, and I've been privileged to meet Mike, and
Wow.
Mike has signed
Wow.
a glove for me, and I love Mike, sweet guy, you know. But it's finding, don't try to be corner, find what you are and be entertaining in it, it's not just about talking. It's like there's something about you that you should go in there and be like, wow, who's this guy? Like an example is like Sanchai, right? His cut will kick, he's not the first guy to do it, but when he fights, it's so entertaining
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
It's like, what was that? You look at what's this other guy? I forget. There's a guy in Muay Thai called Lordzilla or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
He's always like his movement is so cool. What's
By
the
the
other guy
way,
that fought Mighty
it's
Mouse? I forget
it's
his name.
also it's also.
Yeah,
I think you're talking about Rod Tang on that last one.
yeah,
But
Rotang.
but regarding Lordzilla, but regarding Lordzilla
Yes.
though, he's actually going to be, and we're actually sponsoring it. I'm excited to announce. He's going to be doing a seminar at Hardworks Fitness in Long Beach. That's where we do our open workouts. Yeah,
Wow,
and
wow, that's cool.
it's
When is
the
that? I'll
it's
show
the
up.
day of the fight. We're giving away like 4 free tickets to Fighters Rep just so we could be a part of it. You know what I mean? And big shout out to
Yes, yes,
Hung
yes.
Nevo. He's one of the owners and the coach out there at Hardworks Fitness in Long Beach. And yeah, that's where we do our open
Yes.
workouts. He's going to be doing a seminar that day earlier in the day. So I'm trying to tell everyone, hey, check out the seminar and go to Fighters Rep. I
Yeah,
probably won't be at the seminar because my head's spinning the day
yeah,
of the fight. I'm like a chicken with its
yeah,
head
yeah,
cut
yeah,
off. But everybody
yeah.
could go and enjoy a day full of striking, Muay Thai,
Fighting.
kickboxing, just like an incredible day for fight fans, I think.
No, I'm right there with you. So, I mean, in short, it's like your job is to set up the platform for people to be seen, but it's a partnership. You set up the stage where somebody just doesn't show the skills, but is entertaining, that people want to come and watch. You see, when Floyd was Pretty Boy Floyd, he wasn't attracting as many people. He was entertaining, but his skill is undeniable. The best boxer in of my generation for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? And then when he turned into Manny Mayweather, he knew that I would provoke people so that they can, come watch me get knocked out, but I never lose a fight.
Right,
You
right,
know what I
right.
mean? So people will be pissed off to say, like, man, this person's gonna beat him, and then he disappoints them, and then he builds up the other guys, like, this guy's a great fighter, and then when he gets close, he changes on them again.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it's an entertaining thing, and I feel like kickboxing, especially on this side of the world, if you look at the drama between like Rico, Badahari, you look at Alistair Overeem, it's like there's always a storyline. All the greatest fights always have a storyline,
Yeah, yeah.
and the storyline should be you being exciting that people want to watch you every time. It doesn't matter who you're fighting. People just know that person's fighting. I'm gonna go and see it. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
That's what I think that fighters, especially in kickboxing, MMA already has that, boxing already has that, but I feel like in kickboxing on this side, and people already have those personalities. Even sometimes I look at people's social media, and I'm like, man, your fights are amazing. Don't just post the highlights. Show people what your day looks like.
Right,
Show people,
right, right.
build. Your whole life is entertainment. You are choosing to be out there. If you don't do that, you're not going to sell tickets. Nobody's going to come see you. Like an example is this, I fight for fun, and I fight for fun. You look at all this, you look at all the fighters that are actually, like an example is the Black Beast.
Right,
The
right,
Black Beast
right.
is just as funny in the ring as his IG. You go to his Instagram, it's
Oh
hilarious.
man, I love
But
that.
that's just
Yeah,
who he
yeah,
is.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So his personality is stretched into everything, and I feel like especially for guys who are coming up, I think that's, especially if you're serious about it like a career, then you have to think long term, because at the end of the day, it's about, it's entertainment. Whoever, as many people as you can bring, the revenue is bigger, and if the revenue is bigger, everybody goes home happy,
Right,
right?
right. No,
That's
I
really the
couldn't
goal.
agree more,
Yeah.
and I really, you mentioned, you do it for the art.
Yes.
I really respect the art to the point where I never want the show to be a going out of business sale. I never want it to be like a free for
Yeah.
all where I'm just pressuring guys to sell tickets. I never want to do
Mm.
that. And so
Yeah.
my kind of way to do exactly what you're saying, and I don't know if you've noticed this, or how long or how closely you followed us, is I try to put a camera on these guys all the time. I mean, I try to,
Oh, listen, I see
yeah.
it.
I
I
mean,
see
I'm
it.
trying to get their personalities out there because, and people, I mean, I'd like to think people are really enjoying it because all of these guys, anybody that gets into fighting, you don't even have to be brash or braggadocious like Conor McGregor or these guys. Somebody's going to resonate with you. If you're the strong silent type,
Yeah.
somebody's going to feel
Mm.
that. If you're crazy, somebody's going
Mhm.
to feel that. My job is to just create an opportunity to get these guys out there, and then whoever likes them. Whoever doesn't like them, and that also, that, like you said
Yeah.
with Floyd, that also helps when people don't
Yeah.
like the guy. You know what I
Listen,
mean?
the dislike brings people too. You just have to use what is yours.
Right, right.
I like there's a quote that John said it to me one time. He was just like, listen, a lot of people don't get this, but the sky is so big for so many stars to shine. We can all shine. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? We don't need to be somebody else. So there are people who will be loved because of their fighting style. There are people who will be loved because of how they talk. There are people who will be loved because of what they do outside the ring that brings them into the ring.
Right.
There's just all these different sides to it. You know what I mean? So I'm right there with it. I'm right there with it. I enjoy every part of it, and I appreciate all fighters, and I have so much respect for anybody that steps in that ring, because I've experienced it a few
Yeah.
times, and man, it's something. From my first smoker to my first fight, it was just like, man, it's different. And you get comfortable the more you do it, but it's never comfortable enough. I'll tell you something. The last fight I was with John was what's this guy's name? He's from Cali too. Apple Valley, I
Oh,
think. Dominic
Dominic
Reyes.
Reyes.
Dominic
Right, right,
Dominic
right,
Reyes.
right.
And John was and I've seen this every time. I'm sorry to say this, but I've seen him like sweat. And we'll get to the octagon early, and he will go in there and he'll pray a little bit, move around. We'll pray in there. I'll send you some of those pictures if you want to see them. But you just see the tension. You can feel, you're like, I'll hold his hands and it's sweaty. You're like, man, the greatest fighter in the world is
Yeah,
afraid.
yeah,
But that's what makes him the best. You know what I mean? Because he knows that he can lose, but he makes sure that he doesn't.
yeah.
So just stepping in there, man, I have the utmost respect for everyone, every single person that goes in there, whether you lose or you win. And it takes a lot to be
Let,
in
let
there.
me ask you, Prophet, how many fights have you had, smokers and amateur and everything else included?
Well, I've had one smoker, and then I did the what's it called, the U.S. Muay Thai
Oh my
Open.
goodness.
I did that. Yeah, I did that, and it was so fun. I won my fights, but then I threw an over right hand, and somehow I kind of had like a, what's it called, a micro fracture on my thumb.
Oh, okay, okay,
So I
okay.
had to stay out. So I had to stop. I couldn't continue because my hand kind of swelled up.
How many
And
fights did you have there?
I actually had one,
Okay,
and
okay.
it was, yeah, it was, and it was like it was. There's no fight that it was easy, but I controlled the whole action, and I can send it to you too if you want to see it. But it was quite
That's
interesting,
awesome.
and that was like officially, and it was a lot of pressure going in there, and I was the first person out of Saxons to fight, so it was just
Wow.
like,
Okay.
oh my God. So I gotta bring the W in for everybody. And when I went in there, everyone won their fights. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So we got a few titles out of there. We got like, I think, two or three
Hmm.
titles out of that thing. And I was really disappointed, but I realized later this is an inside story. So I was taking Accutane, the skin
Yeah, yeah.
thing for pimples. It's called Accutane. I had no idea about it. So I never had acne as a teenager, not at all. So I got acne as an adult, like last year.
Wow.
So towards January, I went to a dermatologist and he was like, "Yo, you know what? Yeah, you're gonna take this. We're gonna put you on it, but we're gonna be taking your blood every month to make sure your kidney is fine." But I didn't know like this thing was actually like really strong. So supposedly it takes moisture from your joints because my skin will be
Oh,
really
I
dry, my
see.
lips
I
will be
see.
messed up. So what it did was it took so much moisture from my joints that when I was in there moving, and my feet would hurt, but I didn't know what it was, but I still trained anyway. After my fight, my hand was just hurting really bad. And I told coach, we went to the ER and they checked. They were like, yo, you have a microfracture. Julio said, you're done. So, I would have continued because of, just wanting to
Yeah,
compete, but
yeah.
I didn't. My other fight was at, what's this thing called? It was in Long Beach. No, it was in what's this place called? Actually, it was against somebody from Los Angeles Muay Thai.
Oh, okay,
Uh,
okay.
yeah, it was with somebody from that gym. I think his name was Drake. Really, really solid guy, good
Yeah,
fighter. We met there, and during that whole camp, because of I didn't realize that the Accutane was doing
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So towards like two weeks before the fight, my ankle would give out, and I didn't know I was having. It would just go out of place. So then I started wearing a thing, and it kind of stopped, but it would hurt. So throughout the end of the camp, I didn't really throw any kicks
Yeah.
at all, And then my left shoulder was also messed up. I fight both. I fight both sides. I don't know what it's called, but
Ambidextrous?
I was, yeah. So I was always left-handed, but in my culture, you're not really allowed to
I
write with the
get
left hand.
I
You can't
get it.
shake
Yeah,
people's
yeah.
hands with the left hand. Yeah, so I was made to do everything on the right, but I'm really left-handed. So in that fight, it was really back and forth. It was really great action, and there were two rings going at the same time.
Okay.
So the other bell on the other side rang. I thought the round was over, so I backed up to move, and my ankle snapped out of place
Oh, man.
again. Then it kind of snapped back, and right after it was done, I was walking back, and coach was like, it came off. I was like, yeah, I tried to hide it, but he was like, no, you're done, Love. It's not worth it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So after a few months, now I've been off it for 2 months. Thank God it was like towards the end, and so I've been healthy now, and I've been just training. My goal is to kind of get back like next year at some time, like enough time for me to kind of like get into the kind of shape I want to
Yeah,
be in
yeah.
for me to compete. Because I push a really high pace, and my conditioning has to be up there because I don't step back. I'm always pushing forward. So yeah, so I don't believe in backing up, only maybe to dodge something, but I'm a pressure fighter. I will make you
I
work.
love it.
So my conditioning has to be up there and be injury free. My ankle's healed up now. My thumb is finally healing up too. It took like the moment I came off it like a month and a half, 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And and now my my limbs are actually healing up. I can run again, I can do all this. I'm back in the gym again, so my body is kind of building up. So my goal is like next year, maybe I think early next year I should be ready to go. I just need about like 6 to 8 weeks to get in the shape I would want to be in, and that's pretty much it.
Absolutely. I mean, you don't want to get tired. I
Yeah.
can imagine it's terrifying to be in a fight and get tired and now
Oh yeah.
that's. I've been in
Uh,
a situation
yeah.
only in spar. I haven't fought. I had like
Yeah.
a goofy Miami. I'm from Miami. A goofy backyard fight one time, and
Yeah.
maybe a smoker. But I remember in
Yeah.
sparring one time. I got tired one time. I couldn't lift my hands and dude just teed he
Yeah.
just teed off on this big melon head I got, and
Yeah.
it was not good. It was not good, Prophet.
Yeah.
Let me ask you,
Yeah.
when you're in there fighting or when you're training, do
Yeah.
you also, I mean, well, first off, at that Arizona tournament, I mean, not just being the first one for the team out there, there's got to be an added pressure, I would imagine, with what you do for a living, right? With all the people that follow you and watch you, does that add pressure?
Actually,
No.
no. For me, because I don't do anything for them.
I see, I
Everything
see.
for me, life is very simple for me. Life is God, family, and what He sent me here to do. So my job is to send you to God, not to follow me, but to follow God. Obviously, God is using me, but it's not really to point to me. So I do what I have to do, and then there are things I want to do for me. Fighting is for me. It has nothing to do with
Right,
anyone
right.
else. It's for me, and it's not to earn any kind of money, because I'm pretty blessed. God has taken care of me amazing. I can say, I live like a prince. God has taken great
Nice.
care of
Thank
me.
God. Thank
I
God.
made smart, I made smart decisions when I was in the music business, met amazing people who taught me investments and things like that. I don't earn anything from my church. I support so many families, take care of people's rents, putting
Wow.
people through
Wow.
school. I do all that kind of stuff, just not to, maybe this will inspire somebody. We wait to have so much to help people, but you don't need so much. You need the little that you have, find something to do with it. And when I started doing this, I didn't have anything, and slowly, the more I did it, the more I got. I really believe, the more you give, the more you get. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Opportunities open up, and you're able to do more. Just this year, my accountant, every year my accountant calls me to tell me like, yo, you need to tone it down. Like, we can't keep doing this. It's looking crazy, but I can't help it. My desire is to support people, get people to where they're supposed to get to. If you come to the gym, all my brothers and sisters as Saxons know that, if you have something coming up, whatever, if you let Lovy know, he will sponsor it, he will support it. That's what I'm about. I just want to see people do good. Whether you're a fighter, I don't know if you know this fighter. She's one of my good friends too. Her name is Little Monster. She fights
Oh
for the
yeah. Oh yeah.
UFC.
We've had her on the
You know,
channel on
yeah.
an interview before, just like you.
Oh yeah, Little Monster. If you ask her about me, she'll tell you. She'll be like, Papa Lo, that's my girl. Vanessa is amazing, amazing, amazing. I told her when she was gonna sign to the UFC too.
Wow.
So
Wow.
it's,
Wow.
yeah, it's fun stuff. But I'm just here to do that. When I go out there and I compete, that's for me. Fighting should not be about other people. It should be about you.
Yeah.
Because primarily you're putting your health in the line. Like, you're putting you in line. You could go in there and seriously get hurt. You could go in there and hurt
Oh yeah.
somebody.
Oh yeah.
I always remember this funny story. So I'm in the locker room, right, with John. I'm like, man, John, you're gonna destroy this. So I'm feeling the pressure. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna smash this person. Then John prays. We gather hands, and I'm supposed to pray last. And John prays is like, dear God, I thank you for this gift. As I go in there, Lord, I pray that Dominic doesn't get hurt, and I don't get hurt either. We can go back to our family safe. I was just like, it blew my mind, because he's praying for the person that is going to fight, and he's like, may we all go back safe to
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
families. So, it's a dangerous sport. It definitely is, and so you should do it primarily for you. We some people do it for their families, but even doing it for your family, it's still you
Yeah,
in there.
yeah.
So if you go in there for the wrong reasons, you can, it will not be worth it when things go south. So I'm all about
I
that.
couldn't.
I do it for myself. When I go there and compete, it's just for me. A lot of people come and watch me. I'll tell you this, if, when it does happen, I compete for Fighters Rep. People better get their tickets early because I will sell out. I'll probably sell out 80% of that.
Wow, wow,
Easy.
very
You know.
cool, very cool,
Yeah.
very cool. No, I imagine you would. I mean, you've got a tremendous amount of followers on social media and through your church and everything else. So, I mean, it doesn't come as a surprise to me. And, I agree with your sentiment 1,000,000% when it comes to like the safety and everything else and being blown away by that because, like our rule set, I don't know if you know this, is extremely unique, right? We're referred to as unified rules with the IKF, but the actual unified rules with the IKF allow for like a clinch and they allow kicks below the knees. For me,
Mm.
I sat down with Bam Still before he left the IKF, and he suggested some rule changes to me so that we could differentiate from Muay Thai. And so
Mm.
basically he gave me the opportunity to have input, right? Is what I'm saying.
Okay. Okay.
And he
Mm.
said, "How about we do no clinch?" I said, "Okay, that's great. That'll kind of like separate us from Muay Thai. You could only do like a one hand clinch and throw one knee, and then you gotta let go." So I said, "Okay, that's cool."
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I
kickboxing.
said
Yeah.
that's cool.
Hmm.
But then he said, "What if we don't do any kicks below the knee?" And at first I was like, "Oh, no kicks below the knees, like that's not really like the full package." But then it hit me like we had a guy at one of our shows snap his shin right in half, and yeah,
Wow.
yeah, and I just and I think about those smaller bones in the feet and in the ankle, and
Yeah.
you snapped your ankle out of place, and I think about the
Y-
calf
Yeah.
muscle and people's lower legs going dead when people kick them. And I said, you know what? I I feel like it's better for longevity. So I mean, for now, at the
Yeah.
very least, I mean, this is what the fighters rep rule set's been all about. I don't even know if people noticed it. You can't kick below the knee, and I actually think that makes for
Wow.
not only a lot of excitement, right? Not
Excited.
only a lot
Right.
of excitement, but the
Yeah.
longevity. Like we had Eddie Jackson. You know Eddie
Yeah.
Jackson. Eddie
Yes.
Jackson is
Yes.
40 plus. He's in there. He's in there
Yeah.
hanging with guys half his age. Beating them up.
Yes.
Um, because I think this sport is great for longevity. I mean, it allows you to showcase your skill without
Yeah.
hopefully getting hurt too bad. And three
Yeah.
rounds
Yeah.
versus 12 rounds of boxing where you just get punched in the head the whole time, or MMA,
Yeah. Yeah.
jujitsu, wrestling, that hurts, man. That hurts.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Yeah, man, that's interesting. Wow. I didn't know Uncle Eddie fought for you
Oh my
guys too. I love
goodness, he
Eddie.
put on. You know who he fought? He fought Connor Bracken. I don't know if you know Connor
Wow,
Bracken.
that's a
He's
fight.
Connor Bracken is the
Yeah.
Wooden Man's student. Wooden Man Muay Thai, the legendary Johnson on Fairtex is his coach, and they had
Yes,
a
yes.
life or death fight. There's a highlight of it on our channel, and man, it ended up as a draw. I mean, this was a
Wow.
knockdown, drag out fight, Prophet. It was crazy. It was crazy.
Wow. That's listen, man, and wars like that change you,
Yeah,
man. It
yeah,
it
and
changes you. I tell
go
you
ahead,
this.
go ahead.
Yeah, please go ahead. No,
Well, I
no, no,
was I
you go
was
ahead.
gonna say, so this is another exciting thing, about your team, Saxon, is it just dawned on me, Taylor Ramsdale was the strength and
Yeah, that's my
Taylor
strength.
Ramsdale was in the corner of Eddie Jackson for that fight, and last night was
Yeah.
in Abu Dhabi. Look how small the world is,
Yes.
cornering
Yeah,
Dimitri
with Bivol.
Bivol, who's got to be one of the best fighters on the
Yeah.
planet right now. So,
Yeah, right. Yeah, man, he smacked Canelo too.
oh
He smacked
man,
him bad. Listen, I love Coach Taylor until he has to do strength and conditioning for me. That's actually that's whenever I compete or whenever I'm like about to compete, Taylor is always my strength and conditioning coach. And I'll tell you this, to be honest with you, I mean, you train with Julio, you don't need anyone else because Julio will listen, Saxons will get you right. But that extra thing, because my first fight, I felt like it was crazy, like the emotions, the adrenaline. man, all that zaps your cardio. It zaps your
Yeah.
cardio, and the lack of the fear and all that. And then, you know, that taught me, like, man, run. I remember I was talking to Six Gun, one of Jones's striking coaches, and he was like, man, you just need to do a lot of jump rope and run as much as you can, especially in the beginning. So I took that in, and then I added Taylor. Man, listen, best. I don't think anyone, like, I see him and I hate him. You know what I mean? But I love him at the same time. He will make you put in work. And he's the guy. I have a home gym. That is still being put together. If you want, I could show it to you. I could walk downstairs and show it to you. But it's like, one of the first thing I had to bring over was my assault bike, and I'm just like, oh my God, that's Taylor's favorite thing. And we do that thing so much that now it doesn't even scare me anymore. I'm just like, all right, cool. If we
Yeah,
die, you
yeah,
die. You
yeah.
know what I
That thing
mean,
is
kind of thing.
brutal.
Yeah, but man, that thing is brutal. I don't think anything gets you more than that. But Taylor is so good because he understands where you are, and he builds you from where you are. And he's like a big brother to me, man. I really love Coach Taylor. We've worked for some time, and he definitely gets me to where I need to get to, and many other people too. You look at Bevo, he never gets tired. He never gets tired. It's that Taylor
That guy's
Ramsdale conditioning,
incredible,
man. It's
man. Let me tell you,
yeah,
Bivol
yeah.
for me after last night's performance. I mean, after beating Canelo, I already thought he was a superstar, but after last night, I don't know. He's got to be in the top 3 pound for pound in the world at this point after that kind of work. You know?
Yeah, man, no, my guy's crazy. Bivol is
Cause
is
so,
amazing.
yeah, cause I
Bivol
mean,
is
you
amazing.
beat Canelo, who's considered like the number one guy at the time, and then you turn around and you beat a huge, undefeated super middleweight in Surdo, a guy who allegedly like nobody wanted to fight, and the way he beat him, I mean,
Mhm.
I thought it was dominant. I thought
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
pretty easy win for him, and he made it look easy. He's just incredible. Like you say, he doesn't get tired. He's
he
fast.
doesn't. Yeah,
He hits hard. He knows what he's doing.
and them Russians, man, them Russians,
That's,
they live and fight breathing. They live and breathe
yeah,
fighting. So, and that's with me too. Whenever I'm like fighting, that's all I think about. And I think it should be
it's
like
that
that too.
focus. It's
And
that
I think
focus you talk about.
it's that focus. You gotta have that in everything. Yeah,
And
you gotta have
and so
that
I
in everything.
imagine you have that, you know, with your gift and with your ministry now.
Mhm.
Now let me ask you, can you get yourself into a headspace where you
Mhm.
make contact with God, or is it something that just happens randomly? I mean,
No, I can do it at any
wow,
time. I
wow.
just have to be in the feeling for it. I have to be in
I
the vibe
see,
for it.
I see.
Yeah, there are times it will interrupt me if something is an emergency for me to know. But I can just pray and he will talk to me.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Mm.
Prophet, I've had you on
Yeah.
over an hour. Um,
Oh man, we've been going. I didn't even notice
we've been going
it.
over an hour, and I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for doing this with me. I love the fact that you're able to clear some of the taboo with being a person of faith and also competing in combat sport.
Mhm.
Um, I just love the
Mhm.
fact that you're involved in this community. I think this community needs more people like this involved. So I appreciate your time and doing this with me.
Oh man, listen, I appreciate it, and I can't wait to come December 3rd,
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
December 3rd, I'm gonna be at the show, and it's gonna be amazing. I appreciate you truly. I appreciate everyone that is watching, and you know, let's keep living our best life, and fulfilling our
Pro-
destiny. That's what it's about at the end of the
Bro,
day. Hmm.
I was gonna tell you, is there any like parting message you want to give to Knucklehead Nation or the people that are gonna be tuning in to watch this? Is there anything you want to say? Anyone you want to thank? Anything like that?
Oh man, I want to thank first of all, Coach Julio. This man taught me how to throw my first
Yeah.
punch. And is that that he's through some of the hardest things in my life, and hardest situations I've had to go through. I found a lot of comfort in in his words. The whole Saxon Academy family. It's really a family. I love everyone from there. Everybody's so helpful. So shout out to Saxon's Muay Thai. And then also, my family, my friends, and everyone that is watching. I appreciate you all. I just think let's not allow this craziness happening in the world, deter us from loving one another. Satan's greatest trick is to divide people, make people hate one another, and all that. It's unnecessary. The world needs more love. Help your neighbor, love your neighbor, even if you don't agree with them. It's fine. We can be. Back in the day, you could respectfully disagree with people and still be
Yeah,
cool. You know what I mean? Today's world is like, if we don't agree, you're my enemy. That's just terrible. We don't want to be like that. So let love lead, and let's continue to just put out good vibes everywhere that we are.
I
That's
love
pretty
that.
much it. And also shout out to Khalil. Without Khalil, I would have never found a fight rep.
Shout out
So
Khalil.
shout out, yeah. So shout out to
I love
Khalil.
that.
Yeah,
Let
that's
me ask you,
that's
Prophet, if
mm,
for those people out there that want to experience what you're doing, they want to experience your gift.
mhm,
Really, I mean,
mhm.
how do they go about that? Where can they get more of you? Where can they see more of you?
Oh yeah, you can find me on YouTube. I am Prophet Lovy, and Lovy is with the Lovy. Facebook, it's the same thing. All my handles are just at Prophet Lovy, and yeah, that's pretty much it. It's really simple. We just love Jesus. That's all that it is, and anyone that wants some of that, you definitely can come, and God will bless you, and really unlock and open up your
I
life.
love it, ladies and gentlemen of Knucklehead Nation. Prophet Lovy Elias. Definitely check him out. Instagram, YouTube. Thank you guys for tuning in. It's been an absolute pleasure. I feel blessed having done this with you, Prophet, and I look forward to talking with you more very soon.
Man, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me, everybody. God bless
Have
you
a
all.
great night, guys.